Hi, I'm Mark. This is Mark's Tech Vlogs on YouTube, and today I'm going to bring you guys a review of the GKU E200 Dual dashcam. Now, I've been using dashcams in my car for years, and it is something I personally think all drivers should have, especially given the standard of driving in the UK at the moment seems to be pretty bad from my experience. And generally, I've always wanted two key features from the dashcams that I've had. I've wanted them to be compact so they don't get in the way when I'm driving and trying to look at a windscreen, and I've also preferred them to be Wi-Fi compatible so I can easily transfer video to my phone without having to grab a memory card and take it in the house. Now, GKU reached out and offered to send me their new E200 dashcam to review, and as it ticked those two key boxes for me, I said yes. That means I haven't paid for a product you're going to see in this video, but it's not a sponsored video, and GKU will have no idea what I'm going to say until this video goes live. That's if they even bother to watch it. Now, I've been using this dashcam prior to its official release, so I'm not 100% sure of what price is going to be, but based on their existing cameras, I think it's going to be about £100, coming down quite regularly to about £85 with offers on Amazon. I will put links below which will go to Amazon in whichever country you're in. But let's get into the review and start with design. So this dashcam comes in two parts. The front part, which goes on your front windscreen, has a lens on the front, a small screen on the back, and then some basic buttons for controls. These are things like locking the video and then also flicking between what's on that display. There's also two USB-C ports on it for plugging in power and the rear camera. It's a really nice compact black design, and where I've personally put it in my car means it's only just below the rear view mirror. This keeps everything nice and compact and out of the way when I'm driving. The rear camera is even smaller and is also adjustable for you to get the right angle depending on how your windscreen slopes. Both cameras attach to your windscreens using sticky pads, and you do get spare sticky pads in the box. Alongside the cameras, you also get a 9V to USB-C adapter, which also has a USB port on it. That means when you plug this camera in, you don't lose that connectivity for charging your phone at the same time. You also get a really long USB-C to USB-C cable for connecting the rear camera. The great thing about this being USB-C to USB-C is that if you were to have a really long car and you needed an even longer cable, you could buy one online easily. Alongside that in the box, you get a spludger for poking the cables in, you get some cable clips, and you get some instructions. This camera also comes with a 128MB micro SD card. That means you get everything in a box to get you started. And this leads us quite nicely onto spec. So both cameras are 4K, which is great for quality and also capturing things like number plates and all the detail you need from a dashcam. It has Starvis 2 built in. This enhances the low light performance, which means when you're driving at night, you still get a really clear view. This isn't any kind of infrared recording. This basically means that at night, if there's nothing behind you, it will still be dark unless there's street lights or something, but if there is a car behind you, you'll be able to see the number plate and all the essentials. The camera has built-in GPS, which is used for recording your speed and also your location during a drive. This is really useful if you need to report something after a drive, either to your insurance company or the police. When it comes to connecting to your phone, it has Wi-Fi 6 built in. What this does do is make video transfer faster than Wi-Fi 5. That means you can get transfer speeds of up to 20 megabytes per second. As with all dashcams I've reviewed, it does have a parking mode and kind of 24/7 mode built in, but these do require it to be hardwired, and so that's not something I've tested. It doesn't come with a wiring for that either, so that will be an extra expense of about £20 if you want to buy the cables, and then whatever it costs to get that fitted, which I think is an average of about £80 to £100 depending on who you use. When you use this dashcam, it does loop recording as with most dashcams. You can change these loops to be 1, 3 or 5 minutes. When it runs out of storage, it will simply wipe the oldest video on the memory card. It records front and rear video as separate clips. Of course, if you want to, you can expand that memory card storage and go up to 512GB if you want to. And then finally, as I said, it connects to your phone using an app, and that app is the GKU Go app, which is available for Apple and Android. So let's talk about installation. So installation is pretty simple. In my opinion, the best way to start is to mount the front camera to your windscreen and then plug in the cables. At that point, it's time to tuck in the cables. Now, how tricky this is kind of depends on your car, but for my car, it was relatively simple because there's lots of little nooks I could tuck cable in. With the rear camera, I found I had a ton of extra cable, and so I had to find somewhere to poke all of that because I only drive a Picanto, which is a relatively small car. It does mean if you've got a bigger car, like an estate car or something, you'll easily have enough cable. And like I said, it's just USB-C to USB-C, so if you needed a longer cable, you could easily buy one. One thing to note is that as with any dashcam I've ever used, the cable clips that come with it are pretty bad at sticking to most bits of your car interior, so I didn't even use them. I tried to use one and it didn't stick at all, so I just gave up. The final thing to do once you've got all of it wired up is to turn on your ignition so it has power, and then download and open up the GKU Go app on your phone. To add it into the app, you go into your Wi-Fi settings and connect the camera. You'll find the Wi-Fi password either on the camera screen or within the instructions. Then in the app you can configure a load of different settings. That includes things like adding in your registration plate if you want to, and deciding whether you want timestamps on that video. You can also toggle the sensitivity of collision sensing and whether it should use GPS data or not. I do recommend using this feature. You are also able to set an automatic screen off time in the app. This is great if you do find screens distracting. That means you can set it to come on to start with so you know it's recording, and then switch off once you're a minute into your drive or so. Now, one setting I really would recommend toggling on, and I do think should probably be toggled on by default, is the rear camera mirror option. That's because by default that rear camera shows you exactly what it can see. That means the items that are actually on your right look like they're on the left on the screen. That is a little bit disorientating in my opinion, so I do recommend toggling that mirror function on. It puts everything the right way around. So let's talk about using it. Now, I've tried to use this driving during the day and also driving during the night, and it's got a good few miles in it right now. For the purpose of testing, whilst I'm not a huge fan of having screens on dash cams, I have been keeping the screen on, and actually I quite like it. I do tend to find that I keep the rear camera on rather than the front. Using the button on the device itself, you can toggle between the front, rear, or front camera with a rear cutout. Now, it's not a very big screen, so that cutout is pretty small. It also crops the video when it's on the screen because the screen doesn't mirror the ratio of the actual cameras. This isn't a bad thing, it's just something to note, and I do personally really like the compact design, and I'd take that over a bigger screen any day. One thing I have found is that when the camera is in live mode, the rear camera isn't quite as smooth as the front camera. Now, recording is exactly the same, so I think that's just to do with the data transfer via that USB-C cable in real time. It doesn't judder or anything, it just feels like the frame rate is slightly less. On the top right of the screen, you'll see different statuses for things like GPS and Wi-Fi connectivity. Now, those icons are orange. That means during a light backdrop, say when you've got the sky in front of you, they're really difficult to see. Of course, if you want to check them before you drive off, the easiest way to do that is just to cover the lens with your finger to make it dark. And as someone who doesn't really like dash cams with screens, I do actually really like having the screen on this, but I also really like that it's compact. But what about browsing video and getting it off of the device? So connecting via Wi-Fi is pretty simple, and the app works really well. And I'd also say, compared to other Wi-Fi cameras I've used, that Wi-Fi 6 does make a difference for speed of transferring video. However, if you do want to transfer a lot of video, if you're, say, making a review about this camera, you are still going to want to take the memory card out and plug that into your computer, because it is much quicker to do it that way. When you preview a video in the app, you get a little map and speed is shown as well, and I really like this interface. If you're trying to find where something happened, it's a really good way of working out where you were at the time. And video from this device, as you've seen throughout this review, is clear and smooth, and number plates can easily be read. At night, again, as you can see, it's not quite as clear, but if you needed to get the number plate of a car as it rear ends you, you could easily do that. The video quality in night mode is certainly sufficient for any purposes you might actually need to use this video for. And in all honesty, it's pretty difficult to fault this camera. And that's because for me, it ticks all of the boxes of things I personally want in a dash cam. It's compact, you can transfer video via an app, and it also has built-in GPS for knowing your location and also the speed you're going. All of those things are essential if you needed to report something to the police or to your insurance company. One thing I'd have possibly liked, if I was being really picky, is for your speed to be shown on that screen as well in real time. Maybe it could have gone in the kind of bottom left, but that would take up valuable screen real estate on what is already a reasonably small screen. So I understand why we haven't done it, but that's one thing I might like to see if they did a firmware update in the future. Overall, however, this is a fantastic dashcam and one I'm going to keep using in my car. If you do want to pick one up, I'll put a link below. That's an affiliate link that will go to Amazon in whichever country you're in. If you use that link, it means I just get a very small cut of what you spend at no extra cost to yourself. That helps me keep making videos for you guys because this channel is not my full-time job and I don't get paid to do these videos. If you've got any questions about it, stick them below and I'll help you out as well, because like I say, I am going to continue using this. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys again soon.